What's up, After Buzzers? Welcome back to the Barry After Show. We're getting down to the wire. Only one more episode after tonight. Tonight we are talking episode 7, the audition. Noho Hank gets captured, but then freed, but then lost. All that and more coming up for you next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Woo! We back! We back!
What's up, party people? I'm your host, Erika Edwards, and we're here to talk everything Barry tonight. But I couldn't do it without my crew. So the very sexy and amazing Ricky Vitucci is back.
Thank you so much.
And amazing.
Thank you.
Italiano.
Yes. And the amazing Miss Conversation Piece.
I'm here. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
And the sexy and also Italian.
Also sexy. Yes, she's sexy. I'm not sexy.
No,
she's
you
a sexy
are.
one.
You are.
Exactly.
I'm
The
Alexa
very
Cappiello.
Alexa Cappiello. All right, you guys, sorry. So off the top, what do you guys think overall of this episode? We're getting down to the wire, people.
Overall, I think you have to be prepared at any moment. I feel like Barry's protege was prepared to take over when, the tough time was coming in the van. He took over and left Noho Hank out of it. And I think that Barry also was prepared as well. So I think that's what I think overall. You have to be ready. So you don't have to get ready.
Alexa, what are your thoughts?
I loved this episode. It was so good. I was talking about to Ricky earlier about how awesome this episode was. The writing in all of this show, this whole season has just been so phenomenal. And in particular, again, I'm going to say it again, Sally's arc. I loved
so
her
good.
monologue. It was so badass.
That was a good scene.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to have to piggyback on
Yeah.
that because Sally's scene by the pool, reading lines with Barry, was by far, I think, the best scene probably in the whole season.
That's tough for
To
me.
me.
But yeah, as
To
an
me,
acting,
as an
yeah.
actor, seeing her emotional arc go up and down and up and
Yes.
down and happy and sad, but I'm happy for you, but then no, but if you really get this, I'm gonna freaking hate you.
She run the gamut of emotions.
She
If she
went
doesn't get some sort of
everything.
nod for that,
She
like an
has
Emmy.
to, and
It'd
for
be
this
fantastic.
for this season,
Yeah.
she's done a great job this whole season.
And Sally as a character has gotten a lot of flack from fans, and I don't understand. I know she's a stereotypical actress and is very
what she's
self-centered, but I feel like she's gone beyond that as a character.
Do you feel like if your friend was in that same position, like I said, you got to be ready. Barry was in the lounge area and was approached, and he was ready to take the card and do this audition. If your friend did something so quick and you prepare for something your whole life and they got it 5 steps ahead of you, how would you feel?
Okay, wait a minute. Before we get to that,
She's like, we're gonna pump these brakes for a second.
before we go there, because I do want to have a long discussion about Sally and Barry later on, because I think there's more to flesh out.
We're
So
just so
before we
excited.
go all the way down to Sally and Barry, I want to start off with the fun stuff, which is Noho Hank, and knock that out the park. So Noho Hank, we know he got punched in the face at the end of last episode, and he gets kidnapped. And I feel like every character in this episode had a chance, or well, really Sally and Noho, to really give their truth. So Noho Hank gets kidnapped with all of his crew, and they're going to be burned alive. And instead of trying to find an escape, he bears his soul to them. What do you guys think?
It was a monologue. It was after Sally's monologue too. It was like two big characters having these monologues of let me just flush out all of my emotions on the table. It was so great. But Noho Hank's monologue was hilarious. He's basically talking about how he doesn't even want to be in this business. He wants to own hotels. He'd be great at that. He's such a nice guy and all that. And honestly, I mean, I've always thought that of Noho Hank, that he was out of place in this environment, that he's not meant to do this. And if he is gonna be in it, he needs to be somebody's wingman. He can't be the forerunner. So I think that's what they're setting up, is with the new guy, the new Russian kid that's like Barry's protege.
Right.
I think he's gonna come over and take over everything.
Didn't he originally come in as someone's wingman? So he kind of
Yeah,
ended
he
up taking
did.
over because
Right.
that person got taken out. So he
Exactly.
was never wanting, like you said, he never wanted it.
He
And
never wanted
I feel like we noticed that in, just in the buildup of his character, that he was not the man to run the whole gang. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I agree. Ricky?
yeah.
Poor Noho. Just get this guy out of the spotlight and out of this like lead role. He just wants to be an optometrist.
I know, an optometrist.
Right.
No, it was so great. I should be a manager of chain of hotels. I'm a nice, polite optometrist by
Yeah.
nature. He meant
Exactly.
optimistic. When he said optometrist. I was like, that's so
See,
brilliant.
I don't know, because I feel like he could be an optometrist if he wanted to. But what I thought was interesting was, and key to why he isn't ready to be a leader, is because, instead of, he immediately was like, oh, okay, well, we gonna die.
We gonna die, yeah.
Whereas the person who needs to be in charge is like, no, I'm gonna find a way to get us out, and
Yeah.
he did. So that part was really cool.
Barry's protege did.
Yeah.
And I have to say Barry's training did help because they took over the whole.
They did.
After they got off the bus, they took the whole other gang out,
Yes.
and they were able to save the day.
Yes, and I do have a picture of Noho Hank. That's our first picture, spilling his guts. This is before they leave him in the burning bus.
Yep.
So, he's spilling his guts. And what's interesting, I think, about how this scene ended is, they do win and they do beat out the Burmese. But then at the end, and I have a picture of that, they kind of just walk off and leave Noho Hank. So the question is, now what? Do you think he's going to go get a job at a hotel? What do you guys think Noho's future is?
Gosh, I think he's
Here's
just
your out.
gonna, tag along from here on out. I think he's okay with playing second man. Some people get envious and they want to fight for the top spot, but I don't think he wants the top spot, like he said. So I think he's okay with being the
He cares
wingman.
about Cristobal, though. He wants to go 50-50 with Cristobal. They're best friends. So, he might want to try to go back and talk to Cristobal and, smooth things out a little bit because he likes being bros with people.
But now
with
look
dudes.
at Cristobal is not having it. He looked so disappointed when they were getting on the
know.
bus, and even the men, they look defeated.
Well, yeah, because that's my thing. I don't think he has that opportunity because I don't think they're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to let him be in charge and you're going to be second after you basically screwed us and got us killed.
He's kicked
so
out.
I think at this
He's not number
point,
two
I don't think he'll be able to get back in, So the question is, are they going to, I thought they were going to kill him. So I was like, oh, okay. They're
I
not
thought
too
they
bad.
were
He's
too when
the
they
new
left
bitch.
him on the bus. I was like, oh, they're just gonna let him burn to death, But they let him off. So I don't think they hate him. They're just disappointed. You know how somebody you just look at them like, you know what, you're just
That's
disappointed.
true.
Yeah.
But if they're true, mobsters, then if
They're
somebody...
not. They just learned training the other
No,
week.
they can't shoot, but they're a mob in Chechen. So just because they can't fire does not mean that they don't know the rules. So that's the thing. I do feel like he's going to have to do some sort of retribution or some sort of. He's going to have to do something's going to
He's
happen
gonna
to
have to
him.
not
go
gonna
to
do
the,
anything.
the bottom level and work his way back up.
No, he's not gonna work his way up for nothing. No, he is permanently the
Banished?
the bitch of the whole crew. He just spilled out his whole feelings.
Yeah.
Who's gonna want that as a leader?
Maybe he's gonna try to join Barry in an acting class because it
Ooh,
felt
that's
really
a
good
good
to
one.
get
Yeah.
it all out of my system.
Exactly,
I really
very
want to
true.
join you in
If
your
Barry
acting
even
class.
is
he
still
wants
gonna
to
act
change his
anymore.
life. That's
Right.
true.
Very true, very true. Because I felt like, okay, they're not going to ever take you back. And you need to be glad that since they killed the accordion player, they did not put a bullet in you.
inside your
Because I
head.
thought that's what he's going to do. Like, okay, get on your knees too. But, luckily he didn't. And they just walked off into the sunset. So we'll
Into
see
the
what's-
darkness.
into the darkness, exactly. So we'll see what's going on with, with them next episode. Okay, so now we can talk a little bit more and really get into, first, before we talk about Sally and Barry, talk about Sally's sort of, her engagement with her agents. Because I feel in this episode, she really was very true to herself with, with all of her meetings and all of that. And that was kind of impressive. Like, to me, I feel like, I do still think that when it comes to her relationship with Barry, I feel she's shallow. But I do feel like when it comes to being an actress and being dedicated to her dreams and stuff, she has shown us more about who she is. So she takes a meeting with her, agents, and then they set up this meeting with this superstar TV producer, showrunner person
Who doesn't let her talk? He just keeps cutting
Yeah.
her off. I was
Yeah.
just like, every time. I was like, oh, this is terrible. But go on.
Well,
sorry.
no, yeah, I mean, you know,
It was well done, but yes.
But I don't know. I haven't had any meetings with producers, but I would imagine that's how they go. If you know, you're there for them.
Everyone in Hollywood is self-centered. I mean, her agents are self-centered, the way that they're just throwing this piece at her. And like you said, she's really standing up for herself, because I feel like this piece is really empowering her, and she's able to, like, really, once she's already gone there, like, by writing it on the paper and getting ready to perform it, is just empowering her more.
But
Exactly.
she didn't want to do the piece anymore. Barry's the one that pushed her to do the piece. And she says it in this whole spiel to Barry, how, you know, I've always wanted to do this and I'm doing this, but she forgets that Barry gave her a little push, like, no, you have to do this piece. Don't change anything. Say it and perform it exactly how you wrote it. So she should be thanking Barry, because without Barry, that piece that her agent saw would have never been seen.
Right.
And then she would have never fell in love with it and then had these like meetings. So
That's true. Now, I do have a picture of Erin Ryan.
Yeah.
Payback lady.
Payback
So
ladies.
What do you guys think that this is really realistic? Like, if you had an opportunity, even if it was a bad show, to be one of the top three, as opposed to, you know, doing a play at your acting class theater, would you turn it down? Like,
Yes.
do you think it's realistic?
Yes. I was watching this speech by Denzel, and he said every actor's first major 3 or 5 films or shows or anything that you do is very, very crucial to your career. Because every single thing that you do after that, they're always going to remember you from that. Because that's always your first impression. Yes, she's been in the game, she's done things, but for her first like lead role with a huge producer, if you're not fully into the characters and the story and the writings and all this stuff, and you don't believe in like the message of the show, do not do it.
I believe in it too, because I feel like I'm very like proud to see her stand in what she believes in and walk away, because it's a big opportunity, and so many people sell their soul, what they say in Hollywood, and just do whatever just to get on, and it can be detrimental to your career, or it can give you like a stigma, what are they typecast, where oh, she's a sexy girl all the time, or she's this ditzy girl all the time, and she's so serious about acting, and she can go there, she can do Shakespeare, she can do all this stuff, so she doesn't want to end up doing something crazy like this.
Well, they were exploiting her personal trauma,
Right.
you know, her abuse.
Right. I mean, I get that, but then on the flip side, you know, Halle Berry did Babs. You know what I'm saying? Jamie Foxx.
But it wasn't her first movie.
That was one of her very early ones, though, very early one, and she went on it, and obviously was you know, probably not the best choice, but so
You're asking, is this in character for Sally? And I can see why you would question whether or not she would take just a role, because she's just been so thirsty to have a big role. You know, she wants that validation, but at the same time, this is a big deal for her.
Yeah,
like this,
it's a
her
huge deal.
story is a huge deal. It means everything to her. And to have some guy come up with this picture of 3 women with a period quote at the end of it, it's insulting to us as women. And I totally thought she was justified in her anger.
I definitely think she's justified. I don't know. I guess I know so many people who have quote unquote, I guess, sold out for that first paycheck. Yeah. So it was just an interesting thing, and especially when when she went back to her agents, they were like, oh, "Okay, well, we've seen your reel." You know what I'm saying?
But
And-
look
So
how
fucked
they
up.
flip the script on you. Like, they're the ones who made the reel. They gas you up on it, but then as soon as you don't do what they want, they're like, oh, your reel is nothing.
And I was personally shocked that the agents or the female agent even went above and beyond to do more for her. Like, got her this big theater.
She's
brought
what
all
every
the
actor
The
needs.
industry. I'm like, where are these agents?
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's the
she's what
thing.
every actor wants.
Oh my
I mean, I do
goodness.
feel like the female agent relates to her personally, whereas the other 2 head honchos are about the bottom line. So they're kind of like, okay, we just want you to get your money and get your paper. And there is something to be said. I mean, even though this was
Because they get a cut of it too, right?
they get a cut, of course, but also if she gets
10%.
exposure, she could get better gigs too. Either way. So, but it was an interesting choice. She stood her ground. And now what is even more interesting is Barry is just hanging out, and the big head honcho,
Freaking amazing.
asks him to go in for an audition because he's 6'2".
6'2". Oh, you don't know how many times this has happened. I'm friends with a lot of guys, a lot of tall guys, and they're like, "Oh, they just like my look, so they brought me in." I'm like, "Do you know how long I've been waiting for something like that?"
Right.
And in general, I understood Sally's frustration with the whole thing, just 100%. Like, Barry has been at this for how long? Less than a year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's getting called in for this big role, and it's insane.
Back to my question. So, you guys, would you really feel that bothered if your friend landed a role
Well, of course,
and asked you to
Well, he
help?
didn't land anything yet.
It's the dichotomy. It's the how is this possible, and then at the same time being like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you.
Would you help them run the line?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sally did too.
Look, it's karma, right?
Yeah.
So anything you put out there is gonna come back and tenfold. There's nothing wrong with you with you knowing and feeling that, like, okay, I'm jealous of the situation, not jealous of my friends.
Right.
Like, oh shit,
Right.
like he was just chilling in like the lobby and he got himself a director's meeting.
Right.
Skipped six steps before that
Right.
to get to the most important part. I understand where she's coming from, but me personally, I wouldn't be mad
No,
at the
not
person.
mad. No.
I would just be upset with the situation.
Yeah,
Like, oh man.
take-
See,
You
to
know,
me, I think that I think that to me, I wouldn't be jealous. Because if someone is really your friend, and certainly
Yeah,
someone
you'll
I'm in
be
a
happy for them.
relationship with, I would be happy for them no matter what. And personally, I believe that that's the nature of Hollywood anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I know so many people, so many comedians, so many people who've been doing comedy. Supposedly, Chris Tucker was only had 15 minutes when he got,
Discovered?
yeah, like
It's
when
not-
he got his movie.
It's
So,
not just
you know.
Hollywood though. It's life. You know,
Yeah,
how many times have
exactly.
you been in class, even in like first or second grade with another kid? I mean, I know I have. I'm always the one studying really hard, and then Joe Schmo over there gets an A+ and like looked at the book once, maybe flipped through it. Like that has happened to me my entire life.
So you don't think it has anything to do with being a little bit prepared? I mean,
It's
you have
right
to be
place-
ready for the
right
It's
place,
opportunity.
timing.
right time.
It's timing, and
Okay.
that's every single thing in life. Whatever it is you want to accomplish, if it's acting or not, it's timing. Timing is everything.
But it's
in
frustrating
life.
for Sally because she's put in the work. She's put in the time. Like,
Well, I think-
maybe jealousy is not the right word, but I mean, and doesn't she say that she's jealous?
Yeah, she says
literally
it.
Yeah.
She says it.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm so jealous right now, but I want you to have it.
And I swear to
But-
God, if you get it, I'm just gonna go crazy.
go crazier.
Go
But
crazy.
see, for me, I look at it a different way. I feel like if my friend and they're my true friend, if they make it, we both made it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's-
So can you write me in the script too? Can I get in the
Exactly.
movie? A guest
That's-
star role? Anything.
That's the issue that I have with it, is
Mm-hmm.
because the jealousy part. Because sometimes I think I may be jealous of other people out there, but people who I'm tight with, I'm not jealous of them. Like, even if they're newer, even whatever. Because as you said, sometimes just being in the right circle with someone can get you a meeting.
My issue wasn't with the jealousy, but with her line when she said, "I made you" to
Yeah.
Barry.
Oh, what? I missed
That
that one.
Yeah, she's
burned
like,
me.
"I made you."
Yeah.
I was like,
when she was going through her whole thing,
Wait, I missed
and
that
I
line.
made you.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That's a lot of ego
Yeah.
right there.
Of course,
to
it's
say that.
obvious. It's
Yeah.
clearly obvious.
But don't you see the difference of how Barry is so supportive? He's able to help Sally, but as soon as Barry, I get the jealousy thing, and it was so quickly it happened, but she's never like supportive of Barry.
Because he is not emotionally attached to any of this. She is fully invested with all her heart and all her passion.
That's what makes it funny too. I mean, he just
Exactly.
stumbled into
That's
it.
true.
He
but
doesn't even know a feature and a movie are the same things.
Right. That's very, very true. But they are in a relationship, and he is always there for her. He gave her a ride to the place.
For sure.
And she's not at all supportive. So, I mean, I was grateful she ran the lines with him, because she's not the most supportive girlfriend. And even with this speech, and I have a picture of her revealing herself. And, at that moment where, and I loved this speech because she was very real about, payback ladies and the industry.
It was 2.5 minutes, by the way.
Wow, you
It's
timed
a
it.
long speech.
That is a great monologue.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, before we go on to the next topic, I just want to thank everyone for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. We really appreciate you for tuning in each and every week. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you're listening on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Make sure you leave a comment and join the conversation. We love it here. And thank you for enjoying our shows.
Thank you, guys. Really
Yes.
appreciate
We love
it.
you.
We
We
love
love
you.
We really do.
At
Yes, we
AfterBuzz.
do. Love, like,
Love,
subscribe. All right.
It's like live, laugh, love.
Exactly. So, outside of running lines with Sally, Jean also coaches Barry. And it's interesting because I kind of felt like Jean was a little jealous too. You know, it's a little bit of jealousy there. And it was interesting. And what did you guys think about Jean saying, "Oh yeah, I got to go to the audition with you"?
He was like,
He's trying to slide his way on
He's
in.
like,
No,
hey.
he's just trying to slide in and meet the director.
That's what I
and
thought
do the
too.
movie too.
Yeah.
I think so.
I saw it as like him finding another way to charge Barry.
Really? Okay.
It's like
Okay.
personal acting coach.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's
the minute
funny.
you
Well,
get this,
yes,
I know
that-
since you're playing the lead role, I'm gonna be your coach on set and make money off of you.
That and he just wanted to be in front of the director.
Or
and
that
schmooze
too.
his- schmooze
Because he
his
was like,
way
"What's the
in.
director's name?" And he's like,
J.R. Roach, I think.
No,
Yes.
I'm saying no. Gene was kind of like, who's gonna be there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and wait out and shout out to Jay Roach, who is a real director
Yeah.
of is it Parenthood? He's the Austin Power movies. He's directed some really good stuff.
Wow, you really underplayed that. You didn't do any of the jokes. He did not give a boop. What was his name again? Oh, he's 6'2". That was so
Like,
great.
Is that what goes down in the room,
All he
you
cared
guys?
about. That's all he cared about was his height. And
I think
the fact that he underplayed it. He didn't play it at all. He underplayed it. It was just funny. It's funny as an actor to watch something like that because it's just what we deal with regularly.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
know what they're looking for.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. What is
Never know.
interesting about it was, I'm sure he chose something different than anybody else. He's going to stand out
Absolutely.
with a lot. So if there is a callback, I'm pretty sure he's on it because
It's not even a callback.
You
no,
know,
it's he's if he gets a call, he got it.
Yeah, because the
Yes.
director was
But,
there.
Yes.
but look
The
how many
director
scenes
was
it was
there.
and how many lines. I mean, they can coach him. They're looking at it like, we just need somebody that's 6'2". This is a 2-line script.
So this entire
you know.
panel thinks that he's getting the role because I think he is.
I think he's getting the role.
I mean, he's not saying
Absolutely.
anything.
I think,
He's not saying anything profound. So it's like they're probably thinking we can coach whoever. They could be a meathead. It doesn't matter who gets the role as long as they're 6'2". Yeah,
You
he's
just
gonna
have
get
to
the role.
look. You literally, this is acting, and everyone out there who's an actor or an aspiring actor,
Ricky knows.
understand this. You could nail the performance, give an Oscar freaking piece in the audition room, but if you do not look exactly like the character, unfortunately, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
That is just the way it
That's how
is.
superficial it can be sometimes, and they nailed it with that scene. They nailed it was hilarious, and I wanted to cry at the same time.
I mean, and also, realistically, in the readings of the script that we saw, it's like you said. I mean, it's 3 steps away from Baywatch or whatever. So it's not like it was some great lines and some Shakespeare and stuff. I mean, it's like, oh, we're the swim teachers. Like it wasn't. So to me, it's like, okay, if he got the lead, was it expecting so much of him dramatically? Probably not. So I think he'll be able to handle it. So now what's interesting is, although Gene wanted to be at the audition, he could not because Fuches, pretending to be
Detective.
a private investigator, PI, calls him out to the cottage.
Fucking Fuches.
Oh my gosh. These scenes were so scary and so dark and just really interesting. So what did you guys think of the scene when they first go into the house and Gene is talking about how when he first met Barry had no one and he was just a plastic bag blowing in the wind.
I was
and
seeing
all of
that jealousy that you were talking about earlier, and how Fuches really does love Barry as like a son,
Or did.
or what? And I think he still does. He doesn't want Cusineaux in his life. There's 2 father figures in Barry's life, and they're both fighting for that position of father. And Cusineaux doesn't know, of course, but Fuches does not want him in his life at all. Like, he's jealous. He wants Barry, under his thumb, And as soon as Barry starts, leaving this whole
Nest.
life, he's pissed.
I don't think
Miss Convo?
it's love. I mean, I think it's the love of money. I think it's the greed
Well, we
and
discussed
the
that last
need. Yeah, or the dependency. He's dependent on Barry. So just think if you were like married to someone and you depended on them to provide for you.
Yeah, for sure. But all
you don't
that's
wanna
true.
let them
But I
go.
saw in his eyes just like the anger and like envy of Cusineaux's
For sure.
relationship with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, but
An
not because of
emotional
love.
one.
It was because he's like, this person is
He's taking
taking
him
Barry
away from me.
Yeah, taking
Yep.
Barry away. Not because I love Barry.
See, I thought there was love there. I thought he was genuinely jealous, and I honestly thought that pretty much the more he talked about how Barry had no one and I saved him, the more Fuchs was like, I'm going to kill you.
And also, if you're talking about vengeance, which they kept on talking about over and over and over again through the whole episode, the way you feel something like to the point where you want to go and, instill vengeance on somebody, you have to really care about them a lot. You do. I know hatred and love are two separate things, but they are both rooted in the fact that you have to care a lot about that person. You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, it may not be I love you like my little child, but I think he has very strong feelings for Barry. Like, he picked him up from Afghanistan. He molded him into this
He
person.
was about to leave him for dead in the grocery store.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't trust anything about Fuchs. I think it's all he has a motive for every single thing that he does, and Barry to him is a business, and he's his cash cow. The minute Barry goes,
We agree
Fuchs-
with that, but there's more of an element to it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then I
I
have a
just don't
picture
see it.
here of Fuchs and Jean. Right when Fuchs gets on the phone with like Barry, you think I don't have cards to play, but I do. And I think to me, I would have said maybe it was business until he called the police and said, "This is Jean. I killed Janice." You know what I'm saying? At that point, you pretty much know he's probably going to kill Jean. And so to me, that goes beyond like, oh, okay, I just want you to come back and work for me. Because he could have, he had so many different choices. And I honestly thought he was going to show him the car, or I thought he was going to just wait until Barry got there.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting move. How did you guys feel about the very end?
it's a messed up thing to do.
I think
I'm sorry, it's such a messed up
he's
thing
gonna
to
go into this whole speech of about, and this is almost my prediction, so I don't really want to go
All
into
right.
yeah.
We'll stop it right there because we have predictions and a few things to do. So, all right. Before we do predictions, let's do some news and gossip. All right.
Oh, okay. So basically, I found an interview with Bill Hader about this last episode. He said he directed the last episode, and it was hard because he's trying to wrap up all the storylines. But basically, episode 8 is going to be very dark, both figuratively and literally. And Barry's internal darkness gets externalized in a very, very striking way. So I don't know what that means, but I think means that it's going to be more death, and a very horrible death. I don't know.
All right.
Like a Fuchs
Very
death, maybe?
Exciting. All right, Mr. Ricky Vitucci with our fun
We got some-
Barry facts.
Some general trivia. I got 2 of them for you. First one, Bill Hader was nominated for the 2018 Emmy Award in the Outstanding Directing for a Comedy Series category for Chapter 1, Make Your Mark, in 2018, but lost to Amy Sherman Palladino for the pilot in 2017. And then the second pretty interesting fact is series co-creator Alex Bird thought that a show about a hitman wouldn't be well received or funny until his fellow co-creator Bill Hader asked, "Well, what if the hitman was me?"
Oh, that is
How
interesting.
confident.
Bill Hader does make everything better.
I
so
mean,
it's
from
bad.
Saturday Night Live to this, amazing.
Exactly. All right. Now for our last special segment, Busted Everything Drugs with Miss Conversation Piece.
Oh yes, everything drugs. So if you know Rick Ross, the rapper, yes, he got his name from this man right here, Ricky Rose, Freeway Ricky Ross. He's a convicted drug trafficker, best known for his drug empire that he ran with the CIA. Yes, he did get caught purchasing over 100 kilograms of cocaine from a federal agent during the sting operation. He ended up getting life in prison, but he's not in jail anymore. Guess what? His appeal came through. He only got 20 years, so he's a free man now.
Wow.
And he has a book telling all about his escapades of how much money he made. And one of the notable things he did was make $2 million in one day off of a drug trade.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait, he was working for the CIA?
He was working for the CIA. They supplied the drugs. And I think that's how he got out. Because he had a life sentence, and he's now out free. He did 20 years, and now he's
Imagine
out.
that. I can't even imagine that.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
you're going to jail for the rest of your life, and then all of a sudden, boom, only 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. It certainly does
Does it?
happen. Yeah, it does.
I can't
actually.
imagine that. That
Actually.
No,
never
these
will happen.
El Chapo's still trying to escape. I don't know.
Escape, or he's trying to get free.
Exactly. All right, before we get up out of here, let's do some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
All right, Alexa, we'll start with you.
Okay, I think Barry's gonna somehow rescue Cusineaux. Cusineaux is gonna be arrested for that phone call that Fuches made on his behalf. Barry's gonna get the part in the movie, pissing Sally off and, you know, corrupting their relationship. And he's gonna enlist in Noho Hank's help to kill Fuches, potentially. That's how it's gonna bring him back in.
I don't think Gene is gonna die. I think Fuches is gonna go into this whole spiel about Barry did this to Janice, and then he's gonna kill him. But he wants to first let him know that Barry did all of this, and in the middle of that, Barry's gonna come save the day, and then Gene is gonna look at him differently, like, this is the worst thing you've ever done.
Whoa.
I unfortunately think Gene dies.
No, he's not.
I unfortunately think he dies, and then Barry will now seek vengeance on Fuches and will do every single thing in his power to kill that man.
Actually, strangely enough, I agree with Ricky, just because just
Why
from
is it strangely enough?
I just figured you'd always agree with you.
Class.
Cannot believe I'm about to agree with him, but this is what's happening. Breaking news, everyone.
Breaking news. I do agree with Ricky. I think probably just because of the preview where Barry was like, I'm coming for you,
Yeah.
it just seemed way deeper than Gene being in jail. So
For sure.
I did feel like, okay, Gene, if he's not dead, he does take that bullet. And I think that is how we get Noho Hank back, because Barry has Noho as his wingman to go after Fuches, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Gene could end up in the hospital, like in a vegetative state or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely.
He's hurt.
Exactly.
But he knows. But you know how you can
To
be in a
take-
coma, but you can't talk, but
I
you
have
know
no
what I
idea.
mean?
To
I,
take-
I do not know.
Henry Winkler off the show, though, would be a disaster. So
That would be horrible, but we'll see next
Yeah.
week, you guys. All
couldn't.
right, thank you all so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us
Thank you,
here at
everyone.
AfterBuzz. I'm your host, Erika Edwards, and you can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, Erika, D as in door, Edwards.
And
Guys,
I
where
am
can they
Ricky
find you?
Vitucci, and you can find me at Ricky Vitucci on all social media platforms.
I'm Miss Conversation Piece. You can follow me on Instagram at MISS Conversation Piece or Twitter MISS Convo Piece.
And I am Alexa Cappiello. You can find me on Instagram at Alexa Cappy, Cappy.
All right, you guys, like, subscribe. Ciao for now, folks.
Thumb it up.
Thumbs up.
Woo.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.